Hello, hello, good morning. Yay. Everybody in the house, everybody in the house. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today is, what's today? Today's Monday, February 6th, 2023. Hi. Hi there. Good morning, Jenny. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, thank you for all of you amazing warriors who are writing on a daily basis. Your gratitudes, your appreciations, which is directly correlated to the health of your connective tissue. Oh boy, what a class. I'm excited. Hello, Pranjal. Good morning. Lovely to have you with us. Who else might be here? Sophia is here. We have Jenny, we have Pranjal, we have Sophia from the four corners of the world. All right, my friends. First of all, a huge thank you for you who are writing your gratitudes on our Facebook page, the Duchenne Method Facebook page. It is so awesome to see you alive and sharing. And today, I believe I taught, excuse me, I believe I mentioned something about resilience, my gratitude for resilience, for cultivating resilience, because resilience works on every level of the human being. And resilience, the more we work with resilience, the more we commit to resilience, the more resilient we become. And so, therefore, life tends to get easier as we move with resilience, as we cultivate a relationship with resilience. And today, it's very much in relationship to what I want to speak with you about, which is your connective tissue, the relationships, right? This whole entire beingness of life in here is a continual interrelationship between many systems. Today, we're talking about your fascial system, connective tissue, something that I have been intimately working with for over 15 years in research and dissection labs. In my bodywork practice, I touch fascia all the time, all day long. The interrelationships of your fascial system, your breathing, your breath, the system of breath. How does breath influence your fascia, your connective tissue, and of course, your cellular system? Well, as we're going to find out today, our connective tissue, our fascial system, is created of the extracellular matrix, aka cells. Okay, so are you ready? Are you excited? I'm excited. Can you tell? I was really looking forward to this all week. Hi, everybody. Welcome, all of you who are coming on right now. Hi, it's lovely to see you. And let's see. Here we go, my friends. Here we go. Awesomeness. Yes, I'm so excited too, and I'm so ready. Thanks, Sophie. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. What an exciting class today. We're going to talk about the interrelationships of your fascial, cellular, and breathing systems and how one affects the other and how you might cultivate those in your own life to be healthier, to have more resistance in life, meaning a healthy resistance against viruses, resistance against being sick or unhealthy. So we're going to look at those three interrelationships today. And as always, welcome to everybody who's jumping on right now. Welcome to the Duchenne Method weekly live class, aka Circle of Creation, where I attempt to demystify the mind-body connection so that you might attain optimal health by using these tools and integrating them into your life. Every single week, we gather here together in this circle of creation to explore all things mind-body alignment through the art of acknowledgement, engagement, and support. And why do I say this? Because the first part that we need to do in every area of our lives is de prendre rendez-vous avec toi. Sorry, I thought somebody's asking me for an appointment as I'm speaking. The reason why it's important is because first we want to move into personal acknowledgement of who we are, how we're feeling. How you are feeling, you acknowledging that on a daily basis has an effect on your physiology. Acknowledgement. Second, engagement, how you engage with yourself and others. For example, what type of language do you use towards yourself on a daily basis? Are you supportive of yourself? Can you change tracks if you start to go down the track of I'm not enough, I should be further along, I don't feel good, or I ate or drank too much last night? Just how are you able to engage with yourself to bring yourself back to a place of mindful awareness of your center, of your midline? And finally, support. How do you support yourself through it? That means taking action, doesn't it? Yes. So in order for us to be in a state of optimal alignment, we want to acknowledge ourselves. We want to engage with ourselves, our talk, our self-talk. And thirdly, we want to support ourselves in taking better action in our life, in our everyday life. Not next week, not tomorrow, not next month. No diets, no big changes of, oh, this year I'm really going to do this, and then you forget about it 2 days later, right? We work on daily acknowledgement, engagement, of support of ourselves and of others. So here in this format that I've created, we are engaging into this language, this exchange, this communication that you get to do with me through the comments. Hello, hello, hello. Who else is here? Yes, morning from Indy. Welcome. Good morning. Elise is here. And Christine is here. Hi, Christine. Lovely to have you here all this morning. Without further ado, I would like to jump in. And the first thing I'd like to share with you is some very technical-ish description of what fascia is, because there have been many new levels of research that have come out around what fascia is. There is already an old way of how we used to describe fascia, and there is also a new way. So I'm going to share with you straight away what we're exploring today in relationship to connective tissue, also known as fascia. So here is the answer to what is fascia. And I'm getting this from, for all of you, you might want to take this website down, the Fascia Hub. Really great website. Lots of the information that I'm getting, aside from my own experience as a practitioner, I get from the Fascia Hub and other resources. This is specifically from the Fascia Hub. Okay, what is fascia from an anatomical and physiological perspective? Fascia is the tensional, continuous, fibrillar network within the body, extending from the surface of the skin to the nucleus of the cell. What does that mean? Fascia is a tensional tissue. It's fibrous. It's a fibrillar. It's a fibrous network within the body, extending from the surface of the skin, surface of your skin, all the way straight through the nucleus of the cell. And why is this important? The number one reason why this is important is that I want you to understand that fascia is an organ of communication that begins at the surface of the skin, not underneath. It's already interrelated with the surface of your skin all the way to the center, to the extracellular matrix of your body. So, as an organ of communication, it moves through the body. The old explanation, the old definition of fascia was that it was kind of like this lining, this stocking, this nylon that is in the body that holds us together. And it's not untrue. It's just that there's a more up-to-date definition, which is the one I just shared with you right now. Okay, so understanding fascia as an organ of communication that moves through the body. For example, if you have ever worked with me, or if you are going to work with me as in body work, as alignment work, right? I am a Heller work structural integration practitioner. That is what I am certified in, and that's what I do in New York in my office. So people come to me for all types of misalignments. What I have found over the years as a practitioner is that whatever manifests itself physically, excuse me, in the body is in relationship to your thoughts and beliefs. It's not the first time you've heard this. What I want to impart with you is that there's actually a line of study, there is actually a program, a theory, research material, an actual career in being able to identify what emotions and what limiting beliefs might arise in the body through how someone holds themselves physically. It is also related to your physiology, how you feel inside of your body. For example, if you are someone who tends to have an incredible amount of energy, but doesn't know how to channel it properly, that is one way that it manifests through the body. There will be different ways of that manifestation to present itself. For example, it might show up as anxiety in the body. If you are someone who has an incredible amount of energy in your body, you're super energetic, and you don't know how to channel that energy, it could show up as anxiety through the body. How does anxiety manifest itself through the body? Well, it manifests itself through psoriasis, skin rashes, some sort of ongoing pink eye, some sort of internal virus. You constantly cannot rid yourselves of a cold, for example. And now, of course, there are more studies and opportunities to look at this since COVID. So this is just a little piece I want to share with you about how your state of beingness, your belief systems, what you connect with on a constant basis throughout the day, which is your self-talk, that manifests in your body. It manifests in the health of your hair, in the clarity of your eyes, in your capacity to have personal confidence from a non-egoic stance, your capacity to be a compassionate being. Super important to understand this, because what I started to say was that fascia is an organ of communication. So if we are paying attention to how our body feels, we can communicate more effectively and therefore respond to what our body is telling us. And because your fascial system is a network that moves, remember, throughout your entire body, and from the top of your skin to the very nucleus of the cellular system, that means it moves straight through the body. We understand now that anything that you repeatedly tell yourself or that you believe in will manifest itself somehow physically and physiologically. Okay, does this make sense? Good morning. Hi, Leanne. Good morning, honey. Welcome to our sacred circle of creation. If this makes sense, please give me a 1, give me a little bit of interaction so I know that you are tracking with me, that I am explaining this effectively, because it's the basis for the class today. So I really want you to understand this fascial matrix that is an incredible, incredible system of communication through the body. Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for everyone who is. Angie, good morning. Welcome, Angie. What a pleasure to have you here. Okay. So we understand that connective tissue fascia, this amazing matrix, is an organ of communication that moves throughout the entire body and that manifests from the top of the skin. As you touch your skin here, you are touching your fascia, your connective tissue, right? It manifests from the top of your skin to the center of your extracellular matrix at the nucleus of the cellular system. Super important. Elise says, I love this. Awesome. Me too. Can you tell? I'm super excited about this. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Angie, thank you for the smiley face. Okay. Now we have the basis for this fascial system. Okay. Let me give you a little bit more. So I said fascia is the tensional, tensegrity, right? It has a fibrous tensional quality to it. Extends from the surface of the skin to the nucleus of the cell. This global network is mobile. It moves. It's adaptable. It's fractal. It's also in different pieces. Not all connective tissue is the same in touch, density, tonicity. There are various different types and thicknesses and functions for fascia. It constitutes the basic, fascia constitutes the basic structural architecture of the human body. For example, one of the ways that I explain fascia to my clients when they come in and see me, I would say to them, if we were to remove this layer, the skin layer of the body, right? So please stick with me and forgive me if this feels a little bit unusual, perhaps even gruesome to some of you. I've done dissections in my life from a holistic perspective with the amazing Professor Gil Hedley. Some of you know him because he's been on part of my coaching program in the past. I've invited him to speak. If you want to look him up, Gil Hedley, HEDLEY.com. I'll put it in the show notes after. Wonderful, wonderful man, scientist, brilliant. And he offers all kinds of extraordinary instructions every week. If you sign up for his membership site, you will learn a lot about what I'm sharing with you. This is a simplified version. Back to my clients, what would I tell you? In order for you to understand, to make it super simple, how fascia works, how it is the connective tissue matrix of the entire being, if we were to remove my skin right now, if I was going to zip open my bodysuit, right, take care, get rid of my skin suit, and I removed all of this, I would still be intact. My form would still have integrity because of this fascial matrix. It holds me together, correct? Good morning. Bon matin, Christiane. Bonjour de Louisville. We have Quebec in the house. My beautiful sister-in-law and brother, I suspect, are in the house. Welcome, welcome. All right, so fascia, connective tissue. If I were to remove my skin, it would still be super intact. I would still be intact because this connective tissue matrix holds me together. And again, as an organ of communication, this is why when you burn yourself, you feel yourself, you have nerve endings, you feel pain. The pain is felt throughout your entire body a lot of the time. How many times might you have hurt your elbow or banged your elbow, and it radiates throughout your arm and sometimes even through your chest or sometimes even through your jaw? It happens all the time when I'm working with clients that let's say I'm working on it just happened last week. I'm working on someone's ankle, and my client says to me, "Oh my God, I can feel it all the way in my jaw." Yes, that's because of the communication system of fascia. I may be working on your lower back, and you may have some incredible sensations in your neck or in your cranium or around your eyes. That is your fascial system that communicates throughout the body. So the most important thing to understand about connective tissue and overall in anything that I'm sharing and teaching as a mind-body alignment specialist is that everything communicates. We are in constant communication with ourselves. Our systems are in constant communication with one another. Therefore, your fascial system, your connective tissue system, is in constant communication with your cellular system. In fact, I would say that connective tissue is made up of cells. And as well, your connective tissue system, your fascial system, is the transporter of your nervous system throughout your entire body. So when you meditate, when you take some time to relax, se déposer, when you get to sit, close your eyes, you go inward, you ground yourself. What's happening is you're actually regulating your nervous system, which is being carried throughout your entire body by your fascial system. So it makes perfect sense why we are now at a point in his story in relationship to healing that we are encouraging people to meditate more often, to be in nature more often, so that you might naturally regulate your nervous system, which is a part of your surroundings. Okay, I took you a little bit further right now. So it's not just here. Your connective tissue is also connected to the energy around you. That is quantum physics. When you're hearing a lot of information right now on social media about this has been scientifically proven. Now we scientifically know that connective tissue, also called the interstitium, it's actually finally scientifically proven that it is an organ of communication based on research done in the laboratory. And that is fantastic that it's scientifically proven. I love science. However, what I also want to add, and all of you, especially my artists in the group, you're going to get this really quickly. It's wonderful that it's scientifically proven. Because as humans in our left brain, we need to know that there's some science behind it. Otherwise, it can't be true. Oh, what? Yes, it can be true. Why? How do you know that it's true without the scientific certification? Well, you're excited. You feel good when you dance, when you move. You feel better when you meditate. You're grounded in your body. That, for me, is scientific proof without the certification. Your body is the laboratory, is the certification program for proof of how you are functioning internally. If you are someone who tends to be happy most of the time, chances are your systems are communicating effectively. Happiness is not just an expression, an outward expression. Happiness comes from cultivation on a daily basis of eating, drinking, breathing, meditating, doing things that bring you a sense of harmony and joy. Therefore, happiness is manifested. And that, my friends, is held in your connective tissue. Does this make sense? Are you following me? Do you have any questions or comments so far? Please write them in the comments. Any questions? Any insights? Are you following me? Are you tracking what I'm saying? It's really important because we're going next to what? I'm going to integrate the breath work part of this interrelationship. Jenny is asking a question. Let's put it out here, Jenny, so everybody can read it together. Jenny asks, so if you have difficulty with your brain communicating correctly with your body, this makes sense to me that you would feel things differently in every way, like sensory integration issues, that you would struggle with motor planning, etc. So interesting. I love this. Thank you. I love this too. So if you have difficulty with your brain communicating correctly with your body, this makes sense to me that you would feel things differently in every way. 100%. So this is, and I think you're maybe asking in relationship to your daughter. I do want to talk a little bit about it, if it's okay, Jenny, not in specific to your daughter, but overall. So listen, this is a generalization. This is overall, right? What I'm sharing with you here, well, that's the bottom line in terms of what the interstitium connective tissue is, what it does, and how it communicates throughout the entire body. Thank you, Jenny. And at the same time, there are different learning modalities in different people. Some people learn differently than others. So we now know neuroscientifically that we're not all vibrating. We don't all jive at the same level, at the same vibrational frequency. Why? There are different reasons for this. One of the reasons for this is embryological development. Some of you here would have had children who might not have been able to speak until they were, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 years old, or they had a pathological issue with communication through speech. That's possible. There are others who might have autism, and that reflects in different ways. For some, autism is a hypervigilance. Excuse me. So a lot of the time, it's much more difficult to be able to handle noise or bright light if you are highly sensitized in your nervous system, in your central nervous system in the brain. So we are different. We have different ways of learning modalities. We know so much more now. The first thing that we know is that even though it's still happening in schools, it's pretty crazy to have small children sit at a desk and learn to read and write from a very early age. The first thing we want to do is put those kids outside of nature, right? Let them move, let them exert. So there should be probably 5 hours of play and an hour and a half of sitting. I think that would be much more helpful for our children to evolve and grow in a creative and healthy manner, for them to have a direct correlation with their connective tissue growth, that they have a chance to express themselves. And there are, again, lots and lots of studies around how this is actually true. So back to you, Jenny, in terms of if your brain communicates correctly with your body, and correctly is an interesting word. If there's a connection between your brain and your body, now, hold on. Oops, wait a minute. Connective tissue, remember, your fascial system moves through the entire part of your body. So your brain has its own functions, of course, and yet there's still a connection with the rest of your body, isn't it? So there might be some synapses that are not happening succinctly all of the time, which can cause a sort of short circuit, for a better, so that you can understand what I mean. So it's possible. And at the same time, don't forget that you have this interstitium that is interrelated and connected to every functionality of your personal expression. It's not a light, easy subject, is it? Because I'm asking you to really stretch your minds. But the good thing is the mind, once stretched to a new idea, never returns to its original shape. So good, right? We're doing well. Awesome. Thank you. Jenny says yes. Okay. So now that we have a relationship with our interstitium, this fascial connective tissue system that is at its core made of the extracellular matrix, which are cells in the body. I want to talk to you a little bit about the breath and how that works. So, what I wrote here in my description, I want to share with you again that breath is the transporter of our fascial information highway, while our cellular system is the actual makeup that brings life to both of these systems. Breath moving through your body is like water moving through planet Earth. We need it to survive, to grow, and to thrive. Fascia is the cellular matrix composed of different kinds of cells enlivened by your breath. So I'm going to take a moment to read. Let's see. Good. Jenny is following all of this. Thank you, Jenny. Helpful to get the feedback. I think this might be from Elise, from the perspective of biodynamic craniosacral therapy. There is a relationship between fascia and reciprocal tension membrane, where the dura encasing the central nervous system is tugged by tensions in the system and thereby tug on the places where the dura is attached to the inside of the skull. Elise, yeah. Yes, thank you, Elise. This is true, and I am aware of this, and I appreciate you mentioning it here. Probably a little bit too deep for this class, in the sense of I would need to really explain what biodynamic craniosacral therapy is. And you know what? We might just do that on another class, to just really talk about the different modalities and how the fascial system is in relationship to how we approach the body from these different modalities. And yes, you're absolutely correct, Elise. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, the dura is another beautiful fascial sheathing right underneath the skull. It's right underneath your skull, and it's this beautiful thick matrix of connective tissue. Again, as I said before, we have different types of connective tissue in the body. Now, how do we keep our connective tissue healthy? Anybody want to take a guess? How might you keep your connective tissue healthy? This entire encasing facility, this warehouse of information, how might we keep the connective tissue healthy? And we understand that connective tissue is made of extracellular matrix of cells, right? So our fascia is essentially a cellular product that has a relationship. They communicate one with the other. And finally, well, how does it move through the body? Water and movement, yes. I'm going to go with the movement. Water, of course, because our whole bodies are made of liquid, different types of liquids in the body. Exercise, yes, Jenny, as well. Exercise, movement. So, what is your primary tool of movement in your body? I just gave it away. What is your primary tool of movement in your body? Leanne says, I guess keeping them healthy require water, healthy alimentation and thoughts. Correct, Leanne. Yes, that is true. Liquid, healthy alimentation, food, healthy food, and healthy thoughts. Yes. What might be the primary exerciser of the body? Yes, we have winners. Breathing. Your breath not only keeps your connective tissue healthy, breathing, thank you, 100% correct. It doesn't only keep your connective tissue healthy, it helps to hydrate. So we have steps along the way. For example, if you're working with me, in a structural integration or healing session, a mind-body alignment session. What we're going to do is we're going to start by having you either standing. The first thing I do is we do it standing. You can also sit or lie on a table. There are different ways of doing the work that I do. I like to start standing because when you're standing, you're in gravitational space. You are in a relationship with gravitational space. So when you're laying down, it's a different type of relationship with gravity. Also, you breathe differently if you're laying on a table, if you're sitting, or if you're standing. So the first thing I would do if you came into my office would be, we're going to do a check-in with your breath. So we close our eyes, so we go inward, and then we start to breathe, right? Very normally. Mostly we breathe, inhale through nose, exhale through mouth. Then we do just nose breathing. What does that do? You're correctly in, it aliments, it feeds your connective tissue. It hydrates your connective tissue just with the breathing. And because your connective tissue is the carrier of your nervous system, through the breath, we are able to regulate our nervous system and calm down. Step number 1, regulate the nervous system through breath so that you get to a place where you are calmed down. When we are calm, we can more easily sense and feel what is occurring in our bodies. That would be step 2. I take you through a little bit of an exploration as I'm doing now. So we check in with the body to see where in your body might there be tension. And then you just do a body scan. You might start at the top of your head and you go down your body. And then you might notice, oh man, I have a little bit of something in my right shoulder. So you might decide to release it a little bit. Get down to the tummy. You're feeling butterflies in your tummy because of a conversation you had last night that didn't end as well as you would like, or you have to do a presentation today, or you have to go meet your child's school or teacher at school, or you had an argument with your spouse, or you're worried about your child, or you have a big trip coming up and you have to organize yourself. For whatever plethora of reasons, your body will respond to you once you settle in and listen. That, my friends, is your connective tissue communicating with you. Remember, fascia, the fascial system, is an organ of communication throughout the entire body. The practice of learning to listen to our bodies more effectively. Why is that important? Well, because it can save us many, many hours of grief and of pain. If we can slow down enough to listen to what's occurring in our bodies, we can take better decisions as to how to heal ourselves instead of being in a state of reactivity. So a lot of the time, if we have a headache, we're not feeling great, we have a headache. So a lot of us will go and have a couple of Advils. I am not against Advils. I will also sometimes take Advil. However, they are just a patch. We understand this. If we really want to be able to communicate on a deeper level with what is occurring within our system, we're listening to our communication network. And in fact, let me back up, because it's not even listening to our communication network. We are listened to from our communication network. See what I did there? So, the expression, you can't see the tree from the forest or the forest from the tree, because we are already in it. We talk about nature as nature is out there. No, we are nature. We are part of nature. And once you start to think like that, the tendency is to look at systems in a more whole fashion. And when we look at our lives and environments from a wholeness, we tend to separate and segregate less, because our vision of insight allows us to see the whole as opposed to the piece. I have two fingers, I have a hand, I have a wrist, I have a shoulder. You see what I'm doing there? We're bringing it into full circle. That the more we can envision our lives, our neighborhoods, our families, our relationships as a network of communication between us, as a whole, we stop to nitpick about the separateness of things. And that is very helpful in our lives, because when you become more aware of the wholeness of things, it helps us to take responsibility for our space in the wholeness. So I'm taking you a little bit out of the interstitium body right now. I'm doing a little bit of a round away, and I'm going here and then I'm coming back in, because I want to share it with you in this way, because I believe that this is the better way to understand it. That if we can start to see our system as a whole of interrelationships, we stop dealing with ourselves on a daily basis as a piece of. I'll give you an example. So this morning, maybe you woke up annoyed or rushed. You had to get somewhere, or you're annoyed about something that happened. Now, if you look at the totality of your life, of your reality in that moment, you might be able to establish that even though you are annoyed and you might be rushing to get somewhere, actually, that the wholeness of your environment is actually fine. Meaning you have warmth, you have a home, you are in a place of safety, you have access to communication, telephones, computer, you have a vehicle that's going to take you to that place you're rushing to. So we take a little bit of an external whole view of what's occurring, so that your annoyance or your rushness doesn't take over your entire being. And why is that helpful? Because you can be in control of how you act in your life, of how you respond to these conditions. Does this make sense? Can I get a 1? Some feedback, some comments. We're almost at the end of our class, so I'd love to get a little bit of interaction from you. Does it make sense? Do you have any questions? Do you have any insights? Awesome. Okay, so to recap, right? Your fascial system is a network of communication. If there's something wrong in your jaw, if you have something wrong with your teeth, it's possible that there's something wrong in your gut. It's possible there's something off in another part of your body. It is an organ of communication that integrates your mind, your body, your emotions, and even your spirit. Why do I say that? Because if you are going on your knees and you're going to pray, you're getting into a place of prayer with God, and you want to ask God for help, for support. You need some help, you need some guidance, and you break down and you're on your knees and you ask for support. Something happens in your body, doesn't it? You bring yourself to a place of deep introspection. When we communicate with God or the universe or nature, something happens in our body. We can come to a place of deep vulnerability when we pray. Something happens physiologically in your body. Your connective tissue gets to rest, or depending on what you're praying for or how you're praying, it could ignite more energy in your connective tissue, in your fascial system. Somebody wrote, I was so tense yesterday, rough day, and I was able to observe that I was holding my breath. Beautiful. Wasn't breathing regularly. I felt grateful to understand, so I could simply breathe. Fantastic. Thank you. Who wrote this? Give me your name. I can't see your name. Wonderful. Exactly. Let's see. Here you are. Henry, hi. I'm happy that you're here. I didn't know that you were here until now. Welcome, Henry. So, Janet. Oh, hi, Janet. Thank you for being here. Janet Jacobs, I'm sure. Yes, so you were tense yesterday, rough day, and I was able to observe that I was holding my breath. These small realizations will help you to age more gracefully, being in relationship with the entirety of your body and taking a vision of what's possible in the wholeness of your environment will create more peace in your body. It will give you better answers as to how to deal with difficult emotions or situations. Yes, I'm so happy that you're here too. Thank you. And finally, I just want to throw a little bit of a cherry on top of our conversation today through this fascial system that is made up of our extracellular matrix of cells that is transported throughout our entire body through breath. Why breath work is so important and why we are so curious about it now, and we're learning about it more and more because we're finding that through breath work we actually can heal ourselves more effectively. The other thing I wanted to share with you was the tone and vibration in which you live, your environment. Notice the vibrational frequency in which you live. And what does that mean? That is interrelated to the type of exteriorness that you look at on a daily basis. If you are surrounded with plants, with beautiful flowers, with candles, with soft lighting. I love books, right? I am in my glory in my office, in my space. The tone and vibration of your environment has a lot to do with how you will maintain a sense of integrity throughout your day. So if you might explore this week, you might want to look at your environment, where you're living. Are there any things that you might tweak, or might you be able to go out there and get yourself a beautiful new plant, or integrate a little bit more of soft lighting or some candles in your environment so that you might feel more at peace, more at ease? Are you listening to music on a regular basis? That is also a great healer that helps to calm down the nervous system. Therefore, that has a positive interrelationship with your connective tissue. Are you taking baths or jacuzzi or doing cold, the ice plunge challenge? Are you taking care of your skin? Are you touching your skin? Are you putting beautiful lotion on your body? Are you massaging your jaw? Are you massaging your hands, your arms? Touch. Touch is another. Touch to the body is like on the outside, is like breath on the inside. Are you touching someone lovingly in your life? It could be amorous, it could be with your lover, or it could be your child, or it could be a friend. So for those of you who are non-touchers out there, I challenge you to lovingly touch someone this week. Appropriately, of course. You know what I'm talking about. And sometimes just a gentle touch. It happens to me all the time. I'm in the business of touching, right? And, I go to the gym every day, right? I get to the gym and I'll see someone, and mostly we're not very touchy at the gym, but every now and then, I'll see someone, one of my friends, and I'll just put my hand just very tenderly on their shoulder. And right away I feel them like, or sometimes they're surprised and they'll go, oh, like, there's an immediate reaction. Why? Because I'm in contact with their interstitium lovingly. So when we lovingly touch another, it has an impact on their connective tissue. How do you like them apples? Isn't that amazing? Leanne says, so much sense. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Was wondering, why do I love to touch so much? Yes, because touch feels good. And in our society, for some crazy reason, we're not allowed to touch anymore because it's been deemed so inappropriate in many environments. And indeed, there are some areas where it's inappropriate, but a loving, gentle touch, I think that we need to touch more appropriately in our culture, not less. We need to be loved and touched more in our culture, not less. When you touch lovingly, you actually affect the nervous system of another person and yours as well as the toucher. So when you arrive and you share or you touch with someone gently, tenderly, lovingly, it's a win-win. It's for both the giver and the receiver, because in that moment, there is that, again, organ of communication that is speaking the language of love, of respect, of intimacy. Doesn't only have to be with your lover, right? Touch is a beautiful way to share intimacy. Hugging a tree is a wonderful thing as well. Go out there and hug trees, everybody. That's a very healthy thing to do to regulate your nervous system as well. Leanne says, hug for me is one of the most beautiful ways to show love. Yes, I agree. A beautiful, loving, tender hug. Totally agree. All right, my friends. What do you think? Did you learn anything? Was this a helpful session? Do you have more questions? Would you like me to talk more about this? Would you like me to go into more detail about this? Please let me know. Jenny says, so can bodies that touch each other communicate then? 100% yes, Jenny. Bodies that touch each other communicate all the time. Remember, your connective tissue, which is the carrier, the organ of communication in your body, is from the top of your skin to the very center of your body. I would even say to the soul of the body, right? That connective tissue fabric, 100%. When bodies touch, they communicate as much for good and health and love, and as much for violence, which is also true, which is why I'm always reminding you to surround yourselves with people who are loving and supportive and kind. They don't have to be perfect. None of us are. But that their primary focus is this view of wholeness, of gratitude, of appreciation for another. My friends, this is deep work. This is not superficial layers of creating an environment of joy and happiness just because. No, this is going through your body physically, physiologically, as well as energetically, as well as metaphysically, as well as in the quantum physics of reality. It's deep, and we're going to go deeper. Yes, 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 somebody says. Yes, 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 somebody else says. Thank you, fabulous topic. Grateful for the information. Thank you, Angie. Think of babies and caregivers. Kangaroo care. Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Think of babies and caregivers. Kangaroo care. That's a really lovely share. Thank you. Jenny says, this all makes such great sense. Thank you. My friends, I thank you for being here today. If you are not on the Duchenne Method Facebook group page, please come on in. We are welcoming a couple of new members today. I'll share that immediately after this. Please join us in writing your gratitudes and appreciations, because it's part of this conversation. You see how expressing gratitude and appreciation has an effect on your connective tissue, on the movement of your body, on the ease of communication through voice, through eyesight, through the heart, through touch, through movement. All of it is interrelated, and I will talk about it more and go deeper. So please invite people to the Duchenne Method Facebook group that vibes like us. Let's get them in there, and let's get a larger circle of creation so that we might hear from different perspectives. It's also so important to be able to hear people's different perspectives so that we can heighten our level of intelligence, consciousness, and tolerance. Thank you for this amazing, enriching, inspiring session. Thank you for being here. If you are watching me on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, can I please ask you to subscribe? Give me a little like, subscribe to the channel. The more members I have, I'm growing it organically, slowly, but the more you help me, the more I can reach people and talk about this stuff and get my free videos out there for anyone who wants to learn how to improve the quality, the richness of their lives, to become more tender, loving, kind, evolved human beings, and that can join us in our weekly circles of creation. My friends, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time and your kindness. I'm going to put my little outro video and then I'm going to be peacing out. Take care, everyone. See you soon.